right, let me ask you guys a question about cold feet. I really want to get your opinion on this. 1-855-BERT Show, because in the next hour, we're going to continue talking to a Bert Show listener who has been dabbling with an ex from 2 years ago, you guys. They haven't talked in 2 years. But this dude is getting married this weekend. Hit her up over the last couple of days and said, hey, can we just meet up? I've been thinking about you. Even though I haven't talked to you or anything for the last 2 years, I've been thinking about you a lot, right? Well, they had an exchange, a text exchange that she read to us. And one thing he said, I would like to test this morning with you guys. He said, she questioned him about cold feet. And he said, well, I have several married friends. Those that are happily married never had any cold feet experience. They never had any doubts. That's what I want to focus on. I'm curious for you guys listening right now, and I know sometimes it's tough to get the phones ringing this early because you guys are busy. 1-855-BERT Show. But are you happily married now, yet still felt like you had cold feet right before you got married? It's an interesting theory. 1-855-BERT Show. Kristen.
While we're getting phone calls, let's go around the horn here. Cassie, you were married most recently. Right before you and Chad walked down the aisle, did you have any cold feet?
Not cold feet about the person I was marrying, but for me it was more like cold feet about my life could take this path, and I saw all these other doors and pathways closing off. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, I knew Chad was a solid bet, and I loved him, and I wanted to marry him, but at the same time, my head was like, if you marry him, all these other doors and pathways your life could go are going to be done. And I made the choice because I wanted to marry him. So, kind of.
In the middle. Davi, did you have any cold feet before you walked down the aisle to marry your husband, Blair?
Not at all. It was like quick, easy decision. We'd been together 3 years, and I just wanted to be married. Like, I just wanted to get the wedding over with. That was the only thing that freaked me out, was performing for everyone. And then once it was done and we were just on our honeymoon, I'm like, this is it. No cold feet.
Yeah, by the time Bart and I got married, we had been together 11 years, and I'd never experienced any type of cold feet whatsoever. Bert.
I was hoping you'd forget me.
You're on my Zoom screen. I can't forget you, sir.
Where'd he go?
He just dug.
Where'd he go?
Oh, he's gone.
We should start doing that more often. See, Mo, instead of hiding behind your mic, you just need to completely dip off the screen.
I would say this, you guys, that the cold feet that I had didn't have to do with Stacy. I was married for 17 years. We got divorced. It was the fear of marriage and what I knew about marriage based on what I saw with my parents. So I don't necessarily think, I don't know if we're talking about the same thing, cold feet when it came to the person, but I wasn't, I'll say this, I mean, it's ugly. I wasn't 100% sold on marriage when I got married. Does that make that cold feet? I don't know if we're talking about the same thing.
The same thing.
I feel like cold feet is when you're insecure and, like, you're not secure in the other person, and then when you just have insecurities in yourself because you've only been surrounded by divorced people and, like, tremendously bad relationships, then you're like, I don't know if I have all the faith in myself, but I'm sure going to try. But cold feet is more like projecting it on the other person.
Mo?
I don't think that's what you have.
I definitely don't think most, like a lot of the guys, like he said, who have cold feet, it's a bad thing. Sometimes it's just you care. You know that you're committing to something and it's important. And I reached out to my dad because he's like, they're the most successful couple I know. And my dad was like, I was like, Dad, you have cold feet before you got married to my mom? He was like, did I? After 2. I was like, okay, wait a minute. But it proved to me that it doesn't always mean that it's going to go bad, because it's going great for them.
All right, let's run through a couple of these here real quick. Hey, Kayla, thank you for calling.
Hey, how are you?
Good. All right, the theory here is that if it's the right person and you know it, then you don't have cold feet.
Yeah, so I definitely had cold feet, and I do kind of think sometimes it can just be you care about marriage, and marriage is a big deal to you, so you don't want to get married to the wrong person and go through a divorce. It doesn't necessarily have to mean, it's not the right person for you.
So, yes, you can have cold feet, but you got married and you're very happily married.
Yes, we have been married for a few years now.
All right, appreciate you calling. And Kim, good morning. You're part of the Bert Show. Hi, Tina.
Good morning.
Morning.
17 years marriage, I was absolutely dreading walking down the aisle. Cried the entire way, but I'm so glad that I did it.
So you are in a successful marriage, still have cold feet.
Absolutely. My parents, same thing, 49 years. My mom did not want to get married, but 49 years later, they're still rolling.
Okay. So the lesson to be learned here, and most on the phones are saying the exact same thing, excuse me, that, yeah, you can have cold feet, and even if it's the right person, and be in a very, very successful marriage that's still together. So don't sweat it if you got cold feet. I think the bigger sign maybe is if you're going over and seeing your ex-girlfriend one day before you're about to get married.
The Bert Show.